Well, in some ways, in the past 12 months, not only did we have a strong rally in equities, we had a strong rally in cryptocurrencies. And that did bring in quite a number of investors, right? Individuals opening Coinbase accounts, and then institutions entering the market through futures, and some actually buying coins outright. So I wouldn't be surprised if those investors who saw risk on assets everywhere outperforming globally were also buying cryptocurrencies. And so I think as Bitcoin began to weaken and they de-risked, it could easily look like a chart that looks like the S&P, because both had a parabolic move and then subsequently gave back some of those gains. But I think the connection between the two is really, really limited.
So limited just psychologically, or there's different traders? What does that mean, limited?
Well, across the board, I mean, cryptocurrencies have their own economy. It's based on activity on that blockchain. Equities have their own economy based on earnings per share multiples. The institutional overlap is essentially zero. Our clients who own equities, not even single digits, like mid-single digits, even own any crypto. So there's very little institutional overlap. And when you look at the ownership of Bitcoin, it's 80%, maybe 70% outside the U.S. It's really a globally held asset class. So I
really interesting point they're making, and I'd like to kind of have you guys think about this. But the U.S. stock market, which is obviously at all-time highs and is now very, very volatile, it's been leveraged. These companies that have this kind of valuation, they've been able to borrow money for very, very cheap through something called quantitative easing. So they're not mentioning this on CNBC, but I mean, the biggest difference between Bitcoins and stock, especially now that you're not allowed to buy cryptocurrencies with credit card, is that cryptos are, for the most part, unleveraged, where a lot of these companies that have a lot of value, they also hold a lot of debt. And, they're all going to run into trouble as interest rates go up. So that's a big question I'd like to ask, the audience, and see what you guys think. I do think the stock market's kind of overvalued, but I wouldn't be completely out of it. I am very big on maybe doing like a 50-50 balance. That's what I'm personally invested. I'm about 50% stock, 50% Bitcoin, but most of my asset is cash and real estate, which, it's a little bit harder to get to the real estate part depending on what part of the country you live in. But I highly, highly recommend, the way to really go, just because the stock market's at an all-time high and we're not very sure if this dip is over. Sometimes having a little cash is not a bad idea, but I feel like if you have $5,000 invested in stocks, you should probably have about $5,000 invested in crypto, and kind of vice versa. If you have $10,000 in crypto, I would put some in the stock market, especially if you don't like volatility. You can find things in the stock market that are a lot less volatile, like ETFs and bonds. But I'm more bullish on crypto just because, like I said, they don't have this leverage, and we hit a low, and we're kind of right now in the recovery phase. But with a market cap of only 400 billion, I'm predicting that the market cap will easily hit 1 trillion by the end of the year, which I feel like was going to be a lot more growth in the stock market. But it depends. I mean, maybe they don't raise rates, or there's always things to keep the stock market going. So I wouldn't be shorting the stock market. And for me, for now, if I had to choose between Bitcoin and stocks, I would do both. I would have 50% in cryptocurrencies, 50% in stock. And if I don't like volatility, I would be picking stocks that are less volatile. And if I don't have a good understanding of cryptocurrency, I would probably own a little more stock. If I have a better understanding of stocks, I would own more stocks. So definitely try to own more of what you know more of. But to neglect either part, like to not hold any stocks or hold any cryptocurrency, I think that's not a wise decision for an investor. But let me know what you guys think. Please leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys soon. And looking forward to what you guys think and what your opinions are.